Good morning, everyone. We are here to tell you another story. Can you remember the story that Teacher Lucy told you last week? What do you think our story is about today? Let's see. Early Sunday morning in Jerusalem, the women had just made the shocking discovery that the stone had been rolled away from Jesus' tomb. A little while later, that very same morning, another friend of Jesus named Cleopas was leaving Jerusalem, walking with a friend to the nearby town of Emmaus. As they walked, they talked about the things that had happened in Jerusalem that weekend. Jesus dying, and now the stone being rolled away from his tomb, and Jesus' body having disappeared. Another man joined them on their journey. "What is this you're talking about as you walk?" he asked. They stopped, shocked he hadn't heard the sad news. "Haven't you heard? Are you the only one who doesn't know what happened in Jerusalem this weekend?" Cleopas said. "What has happened?" the man asked. "The things that happened to Jesus, of course," Cleopas said, and he explained. Jesus died on the cross. We were hoping that he was the one, the king we've been waiting for. It's been 3 days since he died, but now some of our women have completely confused us. When they went to visit his tomb early this morning, they said it was empty. The stone was rolled away. Jesus' body wasn't there. They came back and told us that they had seen angels who told them Jesus is alive. Some of our friends went to the tomb to check and found it empty, just as the women had said, but they didn't see Jesus. The man replied, "Don't you remember? Haven't you figured it out? Why can't you simply believe everything that has been said about God's king?" It's part of God's plan that he would suffer and die. And then after 3 days, rise again. Jesus is alive, so now all who believe can be with him forever in his kingdom. Then he started at the very beginning and told them God's big story, showing them God's big plan to save them, the plan he had from the very beginning. By this time, they had reached the village, and Cleopas invited the man to join them for dinner. They sat down for dinner together. The man picked up the bread and broke it and gave it to them. Suddenly, Cleopas and his friend realized who the man was. It was Jesus! At that very moment, Jesus disappeared. Of course it was Jesus, they said. That's how we knew that God's big story was all about him, and how he could explain that his dying was actually part of God's plan. They jumped up in their excitement, went right back to Jerusalem to tell the disciples the good news they had heard from Jesus. Jesus really was alive again. His death and life was all part of God's plan. Their God had come to save them. Jesus was alive. They had seen them with their very own eyes.